The treat in your dog's bowl right now might be the most dangerous thing you feed him. Between 2007 and 2015, the FDA logged complaints involving more than 6,200 dogs and over 1,140 reported dog deaths, almost all of them from one aisle of the pet store. The treat aisle, the reward you hand over for good behavior, for sitting, for being a good boy. And here is the pattern you will see in almost every one of them. The same giant corporations that make the cheap food make the cheap treats, and one of them even owns the vet clinics that treat your dog when something goes wrong. They profit when you buy the treat, and again when your dog gets sick. We are counting down 7 dog treats you should never feed your dog, from bad to worst, then the 2 that are actually safe. Number 1 is Waggin Train, a bag sold in grocery stores all over America, and by the end of this video, you will never grab it again. Number 7. Milk-Bone, the most famous dog biscuit in America. Your grandparents bought it, you buy it, and the shape alone whispers wholesome. That is the bait. Flip the box over. The first ingredient is not meat, it is wheat flour. Then comes meat and bone meal, then poultry byproduct meal, the leftover parts ground into a powder. The beef fat is preserved with BHA and BHT, 2 chemical preservatives. And then there are the colors: red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, and blue 1. 4 artificial dyes in a biscuit your dog swallows whole, never once looking at the color. Here is the one that should stop you. Milk-Bone contains titanium dioxide, a whitening agent the European Union banned from human food in 2022 over safety concerns. It is still in the treat you hand your dog. So do the first test right now. Walk to the box and read the first 3 ingredients out loud. If wheat and byproduct come before any real meat, you are feeding filler shaped like a bone. That is number 7, and it only gets worse from here. Number 6. Beggin Strips made by Purina. The whole product is built on one idea, that your dog is begging for bacon. The commercials, the smell, the floppy red strip that looks like the real thing. That is the bait. Flip it over. There is barely any bacon. The first ingredients are corn gluten meal and ground yellow corn, then sugar, then glycerin, then BHA again. It is a strip of corn and sugar dressed up with smoke flavor to smell like a butcher shop. Run the test. Read the first 5 ingredients. If corn and sugar come before meat, the bacon is a picture, not an ingredient. And remember who makes it, because this is the same Purina behind some of the biggest names in the pet aisle. Your dog is not begging for bacon. He is begging for sugar and corn in a bacon costume. That is number 6. Number 5. Pup-Peroni, owned by the J.M. Smucker Company. It is marketed like a Slim Jim for dogs, a soft, meaty, high-value treat. That is the bait. Flip it over and read the additive stack, because this one runs long. Meat byproducts. Sugar. Propylene glycol, a moisture keeper. Caramel color. Red 40. BHA. And sodium nitrite, a curing agent. That is a processed meat snack engineered for shelf life, not for your dog. Propylene glycol is the same humectant the Food and Drug Administration prohibits in cat food. It is still perfectly legal in dog products. Stack it all together. Byproducts for protein, sugar for taste, dye for color, nitrite to cure it, and propylene glycol to keep it soft on a shelf for a year. Your dog tastes meat. The label reads like chemistry. That is number 5. And now we get to the treats with body counts. Number 4. Greenies, the green dental chew made by Mars. This is the one your vet might even sell at the front desk. Clean teeth, fresh breath, a treat that does a job. That is the bait. Here is the public record. In the early 2000s, the Food and Drug Administration logged 35 complaints and at least 13 reported dog deaths after dogs swallowed chunks of Greenies that lodged in the throat or the intestine. The makers settled a lawsuit. Now, in fairness, Greenies were reformulated in 2006 to break down more easily, and the company disputes that the product was unsafe. But the lesson never expired. A chew that a dog gulps instead of grinds can become a blockage. And here is the part that ties the whole industry together. Greenies is owned by Mars, the same Mars that owns Banfield, Blue Pearl, and the VCA vet chain. The company that sells the chew can also own the hospital that treats the dog. That is not a theory. Those are public filings. That is number 4. Number 3. Rawhide. Not one brand, but the whole shelf of knotted white bones and rolls, the default chew in millions of American homes. That is the bait, the idea that it is natural. Here is the public record. In 2017, United Pet Group recalled multiple rawhide brands because plants overseas were using a chemical called a quaternary ammonium compound, an antimicrobial that is not approved for rawhide in the United States. So the chew was washed in something this country never cleared. Beyond the recall, ask any veterinarian about the bigger danger. Rawhide does not digest like food. A dog bites off a chunk, swallows it, and it can swell and lodge in the gut, which is a surgical emergency. And most rawhide is not even a food product. It is a leftover from the leather industry, the inner layer of an animal hide, cleaned with chemicals, pressed into a bone shape, and sold to you as a treat. So here is the test, and it is a rule, not a maybe. If you cannot bend it, do not give it. And never leave a dog alone with a piece small enough to swallow. That is number 3. The last 2 are the brands behind the deadliest dog treat story ever told. Number 2. Milo's Kitchen, owned by the J.M. Smucker Company. The bag looks like a farmhouse kitchen, home-style chicken jerky, made with love. That is the bait. Here is the record. In 2013, Milo's Kitchen recalled its chicken jerky and its chicken grillers after the New York State Department of Agriculture found unapproved antibiotic residues in the product. These were drugs allowed in China and in Europe, but never cleared for use in the United States, showing up in a treat marketed to American families. And it gets worse for the brand. Milo's Kitchen later faced a class action lawsuit over a Made in USA label after buyers said the product was not what the packaging implied. So read the bag and then read where it was actually made. A farmhouse on the front does not tell you what the New York State lab found inside. That is number 2. And it was part of something far bigger, the scandal sitting at number 1. Number 1. Waggin Train, made by Purina. This is the bag at the center of the worst dog treat story in American history. For years, it was a bestseller, simple chicken jerky strips, a treat dogs went crazy for. That is the bait, and that is exactly what makes it the worst. Here is the record. Waggin Train was China-made jerky, and it was pulled in that same 2013 recall for the same unapproved antibiotic residues. But Waggin Train is the brand most tied to the bigger picture. Across those years, the Food and Drug Administration collected complaints involving more than 6,200 dogs and over 1,140 reported deaths linked to chicken jerky treats, many of the dogs developing a rare kidney condition called Fanconi syndrome. Now I am going to be precise because the truth matters more than the outrage. The Food and Drug Administration never proved a single definitive cause, and Purina has defended its products. But more than 1,000 families filed those reports, and the brand at the center of it was Waggin Train, owned by Purina. Here is the part that should make you uneasy. After the recall, the jerky quietly came back to shelves. The same brand, the same aisle, a few years later, as if none of it happened. That is number one, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So what do you do tonight? Owners who drop the jerky and the rawhide and switch to a real single-ingredient treat report the same things within a couple of weeks. Less stomach upset, better breath without a chemical chew. A dog just as happy, because dogs do not care about brand names, they care that it came from your hand. One honest note: before you change your dog's treats, especially if he is older or has a health condition, check with your veterinarian, because every dog is different. But you are always allowed to ask the simplest question on the back of the bag. What is actually in this, and where was it made? Now the two that are actually safe. The first is Pure Bites. Pick up the bag and read the ingredient list, because this is the whole point. It is one ingredient. Just chicken breast, or just beef liver, or just salmon. One word, nothing else. No dye, no sugar, no BHA, no propylene glycol. It is real meat, freeze-dried into a treat, and it is made in the United States, not imported. Your dog gets pure protein, and you get a label that you can read in 1 second. You can find it almost anywhere, at Walmart, on Amazon, at PetSmart, at Petco, and on Chewy. It is the exact opposite of everything else on this list. Where the others hide behind corn and dye and a list you cannot pronounce, Pure Bites has nothing to hide, because there is nothing in it but the meat. And because it is freeze-dried, a little goes a long way, so a single bag lasts. That is what a treat is supposed to be. One ingredient made here, and a price that is fair for what it actually is. The second is Full Moon. If your dog loves jerky, this is the jerky to buy, because it is the answer to everything that went wrong with number 1 and number 2. The meat is human grade, the same standard used for food that people eat, and it is inspected by the United States Department of Agriculture. It is made in the United States, not in an overseas plant, and it is free of glycerin, corn syrup, and artificial preservatives. The brand was started by a founder who got tired of low-grade meat shipped in from overseas and cheap corn filler. So this is real chicken jerky, made the way the bag at number 1 only pretended to be. You can find Full Moon at Chewy, Kroger, and on Amazon. The same treat your dog already loves, without the lab report attached. So here is the list, 1 line each. Milk bone, wheat and byproducts, and a whitening agent the European Union banned from human food. Beggin Strips, corn and sugar in a bacon costume. Pup-Peroni, a chemistry set with sodium nitrite and propylene glycol. Greenies, blockage reports and a settlement, owned by the company that also owns your vet's hospital. Rawhide, washed in a chemical the United States never approved, and a choking risk in every home. Milo's Kitchen, the antibiotic residues a New York State lab caught in 2013. And Waggin Train, the bag at the center of more than 1,140 reported dog deaths. Here is the only test you need. Read the first 3 ingredients, count the dyes, and check where it was made. Your dog cannot read the bag. He just trusts the hand that feeds him. So tell me in the comments, what treat have you been giving your dog, and was it on this list? There is one more pet product I am investigating right now that is in almost every home, so do not miss the next one. Subscribe. This channel reads the label, not the marketing.